What's up, my fellow lionesses and lions? Welcome to the Project Lioness podcast, where we are here to disrupt the mainstream narrative when it comes to health, holism, and human consciousness. We are here to share bold truths about health and life from a female perspective. This episode is brought to you by our team, Inspire Co., where we stand for your health being inspired by choice rather than being inhibited by chance. Thank you for being here and joining in on these raw, real, and powerful conversations. We hope our show brings you inspiration and empowerment to overcome challenges, reclaim your life, and ultimately pursue your mission with power, purpose, and play. Now, let's get into the episode.
Ba-doom, boom, ba-doom, boom. Bum, bum. It's Jess
and Dr. Aryn.
And we're back again. Dr. Mel is still in Costa Rica and Ashley is still enjoying her time and space with Scott on this beautiful rainy spring day in Minnesota.
Yes.
Yes. So we're here today to, we might kind of be all over the place, but ultimately we're just talking and focusing on like women's health and where we're outsourcing our health and kind of where we feel like true health comes from.
Yes. So bear with us. We'll be spitting some facts and sharing our opinions and other research that we found and, you know, our experiences most importantly.
Yeah. And we won't even need a fact checker today because we already printed some facts out on a piece of paper.
We are prepared.
And this actually stemmed from when Aryn and I, Dr. Aryn and I were trying to figure out like what we should talk about. It actually stemmed from a recent experience that Aryn had and I'm still kind of in, and that is a parasite cleanse. So I got the idea from Aryn. So I'm going to let Aryn kind of talk about like, where did you hear about it? Why is it happening?
Yeah. So parasite cleanses have been super trendy and popular. I did not know this because I'm not on TikTok or anything.
Right, yeah.
So I bypass all like the trending topics surrounding parasites, but we actually had a practice member who was doing a cleanse and showed Dr. Mel a picture of her little wormy. And that really kind of started it. I personally have like been dealing with a lot of fatigue. I mean, I also just graduated a doctorate program, so that could have a lot to do with it. But, you know, I love seafood, like sushi.
You have pets?
I have pets. I love to walk barefoot as well in the grass. And those are all ways that you can get parasites. So
that being said, do not let the stop you from walking barefoot because the benefits far, far outweigh the risks.
I will always eat sushi too.
Yeah.
So
I will always have animals. So
I'm not getting rid of my dogs either.
So like, but parasites exist for a purpose. They have a reason to be here. And if we were still all eating whole, clean foods all the time, like we were however many millennia ago, parasites wouldn't be causing the issues that they do now. And
I was going to say, I think the recent research actually says that most of the parasites that we get comes from the water sources too.
Great.
Uh-huh.
Great.
Uh-huh.
When I was researching for this topic, I actually found this like article about parasite cleanses because I also didn't know until yesterday that they were this huge TikTok trend. They totally blew up.
It 100% blew up, yeah.
Yeah, and people were like, I took this stuff, so we're doing Paragard. That's the stuff that we use. Mm-hmm. I took it, and then 5 minutes later, I pooped out a worm. I was like, no, maybe.
I was going to say I did not have that experience.
Yeah, maybe. And because a parasite cleanse goes so much further than just like taking pills. So like when Dr. Aryn found it, it wasn't just like a trend. We're going to do this. It's actually like a lifestyle switch that needs to happen to support kind of getting your body back online. So like what were the biggest beyond getting rid of parasites, what appealed to you about the parasite cleanse?
I think just doing and eating things to support like a body's detox and supporting liver function was huge. So in preparation, I did a lot of research, and the biggest thing was doing like a diet change. So I cut out coffee. I was sad about that. I didn't think I would be able to cut off coffee because I have a problem. But we did it, and I did it so easily, which was cool to like challenge myself. But no coffee, no alcohol, obviously, no dairy, gluten, no red meat unless if it's grass fed, no seafood, no eggs, white meat only. I made a lot of quinoa bowls.
Yeah.
Honestly. And they say even when you go out that even lettuce can be a big source of parasites because like, I don't know, the lettuce is not washed properly. Yeah. So I basically just didn't even eat out because it's too difficult to have all those dietary restrictions, which I have never really done like a formal diet nor do I have dietary restrictions to begin with. So it gave me also a big perspective on how difficult it is to eat like raw vegetables, fruits, white meats, and just be on like a dairy-free.
Yeah. I cooked my veggies because But so I think like the thing that I liked about the parasite cleanse is it's good to do a detoxification of your body every once in a while. And this is a really eye-opening in how inflammatory some of the foods that we eat are. Mm-hmm. Like people, cheese. Right? Freaking love cheese. Love cheese. But like, you know, when people talk to me, they're like, well, you live a relatively healthy lifestyle. I'm like, I do. We eat pretty well, but I also have kids and we like get ice cream. Or sometimes I make kids things that I wouldn't eat because they won't eat what I eat and they'll have bites of their food. Yep. So it's a really good way to also come back and realize like the eating habits that you've picked up, like subconsciously. I recognize like I do eat pretty clean, but there are some things that, you know, add a ton of inflammation to my body. And that was the first thing that I noticed after doing the cleanse was one, having more energy. And I think my jawbone is like making a little pop out. I was like, oh, is that what it looks like to not have that much inflammation? Cool. Wow. I sent a picture to my best friend. I was like, look at my jaw. Yeah, that's amazing. I think I have really mixed reactions when I start doing stuff like this because 99% of the time I'm like, don't go on a diet.
No.
Most diets are not sustainable. There are sustainable diets like the Mediterranean diet and anti-inflammatory, which our diet was. They're more sustainable, but they're hard, especially like if you want to eat out. And the only reasons that I would promote stuff like this is like you're having hormonal issues. You're having trouble just like with your relationship with food in general, because these are like not restrictive. You eat the food, you eat the food that you want to eat, but it's whole foods and it's better for you. If you were like getting ready for a huge athletic performance, like we have a friend who did an Ironman, Jeff, shout out Jeff, 3rd episode you've been mentioned, friend. You have to eat really precisely and really almost restrictively in order to perform at that high level athletics.
Absolutely.
Any other circumstances in which you're like a diet or something like this is really beneficial?
Honestly, just probably rebalancing hormones at the end of the day too.
It's for women especially
for women. But you also have to be so careful with what you do. And I would always recommend working with someone who knows what the hell they're doing. Work with like a nutritionist or even like a functional medicine doctor to make sure that you're actually doing it properly. Yeah. And not just like thinking you know what you're doing. Yeah. Because like some of these diets, like they are restrictive. Right. And are you getting the nutrients that you need? Probably not.
For sure.
Unfortunately, because we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah. And a lot of these diets are trending.
Oh yeah.
And trending is just that. It's it's present now in this moment because it's created results that have not been studied long term. And so as quickly as that trend comes, it goes.
Yeah.
And the more we look into these trending diets and outsource, the less we start to trust our own intuition about our like personal needs.
Absolutely. There's that cleanse that Dr. Mel's doing right now.
Yeah.
Like the reset, the radiant
reset. Yeah.
Like I would do something like that because it's actually recognizing that food is thy medicine.
Yeah.
Like use certain foods to enhance organ function, and just recognizing that you don't need to take a supplement, like diet wise, like you can just diet via whole natural foods.
Yeah. And no diet is going to be perfect for every single person.
Correct.
And this actually brings me to a really hot button topic that it brings a lot of fire to my veins is these diet companies that are selling meal replacements or selling meals. Because if you look at the wrapper, the first ingredients on there are usually oils, hydrogenated oils, seed oils, all of that, which are really inflammatory, and they actually lack like major nutrients that we need.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and it goes back to medication masking the symptoms. We think sometimes like the instant gratification that we can just take this one thing and we're going to lose the weight, you know, and that's not how that works.
No. And
not
I think
without a cost.
Right. And you think about, you know, kind of where we're trending as a society, it's upwards in weight because of our lifestyles, because of the foods that we eat, because
the stress.
The stress that we carry. And also like we've talked about this in a previous episode, but our kind of shying away from discomfort and like hunger is being seen as like discomfort now. Whereas usually when you're hungry, that's a sign that there's more, is it HGC in your body, human growth hormone, which is promotes muscle growth and weight loss and all of that. But we're really quick to eat bad foods.
Yeah.
And a lot of these bad foods, like when you go to fast foods, the reason that you're hungry, even though you've just intook and just after you ate a bunch of food,
There you go.
I'm having trouble today. And we'll talk about this in a minute here, but like, when you intake a lot of food from a fast food place, but you find yourself hungry shortly after, the reason you're hungry is because your hunger is trying to seek out nutrition, things that actually help your organs and all of your systems work in a functional manner. But McDonald's, Burger King, all those other fast foods, they don't have those nutrients in them. And that's why you find yourself going back to the refrigerator, even though you've just eaten a bunch of food.
It's like the empty calories.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're so ready to decrease our calorie count because we think that's how we lose weight, but we're just intaking bad calories, calories that don't have any sort of nutrient density to it.
Yeah.
So.
And diet companies, they see this and they also recognize that in this fact sheet, I'm not going to read that fact, but it is indeed a fact that women are more likely to respond to advertisements regarding diet and exercise and drugs online than men are.
Why do we think that is?
Oh man, that's a hefty topic. Why do you think that is? I have some ideas.
I think, and this is not to shame anyone who's been in this position, but coming back to like, we don't love our bodies for what they are and thinking that they're supposed to look a certain way. So maybe if we do this, then we'll look like that.
Yeah.
I think that's what it all boils down to, unfortunately.
At the end of the day, you're right.
Yeah.
And I just think about going back, like because I still, even knowing what I know and living how I live, like struggle with my body. And I like think back to like, when did I not give a fuck? When did I just like accept and love my body for what it was? And I can remember being like a little kid and running around the neighborhood with only underwear on and like my parents not really giving an F. Like even being like 8 years old and not wearing a shirt and not caring because I'm a child, first of all, and there's nothing sexual about that, but also just being like comfortable enough to just be myself totally.
Yeah.
And then, we get into schools and we get into like more like social structures and that comfort begins to leave.
Yep.
And I would say that we see this with junk food where it's like brightly advertised at our children's eye levels. Same thing with magazines.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Teen Vogue and 17, like covering their magazine with my favorite actors at the time, promoting like makeup and fashion and food and diet.
Yeah.
And talking about what a healthy body looks like in a really unhealthy way.
Growing up, I had a subscription to the 17 magazine, and I was always like looking at the recipes or what are like the moisturizers I should be using, what are like the clothes that are trending right now, and carrying so much weight on that just to, fit and be cool.
Yeah. And we'll get into this in a little bit deeper, but all of those recommendations for like makeup and food and like not just like the recipes, but the advertisements for food, gum, the clothes, like all of those also like take away our health
100%.
because they're not because it's like we're outsourcing like, oh, that's what we want to look like. That is a portion of it, but they actually carried a lot of toxins. And we'll get into that because I was at the makeup store the other day and I have a story. Sometimes like I'll get into it really quick with the parasite cleanse. Like some of what you experience is more irritability. I've had so a die off, so like felt really achy, almost like I was gonna get the flu, and then experienced some loss of parasites, which was scary but exciting. And but there's side effects to the die off. And so like I felt a lot of like intaking of energy and loss of energy, and like that's why I can barely talk right now. Is like I feel like my energy is kind of all over the place as my body kind of settles into like what it is to be with like balanced.
I was having like acne breakouts too. Like nothing drastic compared to what I used to get as a teenager, but I mean, that's another die-off symptom of your body is clearing out what's no longer there, and the skin is the last thing to actually express that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ooh,
and
goodbye parasites.
There are acne situations that are different from this, but like a lot of times we look at the acne and we're like, we need to get rid of this right away. Like I don't want people to see me with it on my face, and we'll use like chemicals to remove them, which is actually counterintuitive.
Yes. Because I mean, most acne that you experience is hormonal based.
Stress and hormones.
Internal.
So coming back now to this food statement where they target women with dietary supplements, food meal replacements that are not sustainable because they're not actually teaching you how to eat well or healthy meals habits. They're just replacing what you're eating with low calorie, low nutrient, high oil based foods. At the end of the day, it all comes down to your behaviors and learning.
I was going to say sustainability is the biggest thing that we touch on.
Yeah.
And a really easy way to like introduce maybe a diet sort of activity is to look at what you eat on a daily basis, and can there be a simple substitute, like a healthier substitute for that, because that's going to make more sustainable change.
Yeah.
Like as a coffee drinker, for example, I was putting creamer in my coffee every single day, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this. And then I switched to I think like oat milk or something, which now we're finding that that's not even good for you either. So, you do the best you can with the information that you have. And then I reached a point where I no longer use creamer. So that's one thing that I've just like easily gotten rid of. that I'm not ingesting every single day, and then switching maybe your berries from normal, non-organic to organic.
Yeah.
And simple things like that.
Yeah. I, same thing. I was like, oat milk, yay. And then I'm like, oh, my body doesn't digest that very well.
Yep.
And also usually there's oils in it, but
And sugar spikes with it too.
Oh, great.
Like big sugar spikes.
Oh, that's not great. What about, do you know anything about almond milk? Tell me now. Don't tell me.
I don't know much.
Oh, okay.
But I think also like where the almonds are sourced is the biggest thing too.
For sure.
Pesticides and all that, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm just going to read this fact really quick because I want to touch on the food industry and the global dietary supplement. So according to a study done in 2001, the supplement market size was valued at $156.3 billion in 2020, and it's expected to grow at a compound annual rate of 8.6 from 2021 to 2028. It also reports that women are accounted for the largest share in dietary supplement market in 2020 with a share of over 55%.
Wow.
That's a lot of money that we're giving to these companies.
Mm-hmm. That's a ton of money. Ugh. I just have to process that. Sorry, you guys.
Gotta shift my body, try not to fall. Okay. Yeah, and I think it's just interesting because it's just another way that we're outsourcing our health and well-being and giving it to these industries and these companies that frankly don't have your highest interest, your well-being on their radar at all. Mm-hmm. They truly don't. And you know, I think about where they're sourcing this stuff, and every time you buy from them, you're selling into their values. Mm-hmm. You're supporting where they source their food from, and often these foods are sourced from places where not great things are happening.
Mm-hmm. What do you think happens when people get off of like these diets? Because I mean, they're trends. Yeah. Most people probably don't stay on the diet very long. What do you think happens with their habits after that?
I can tell you because Michael, my partner Michael, he is a health and wellness coach, and he often finds a lot of his clients have tried them and found success and lost weight. And the moment that they went off of them, gained the weight right back. Mm-hmm. Because it's not teaching you like how to eat or what foods are even good for you. Or what foods you even freaking like. It's just like, eat this chocolate peanut butter bar that tastes like chalk. And you're like, this tastes like crap, but I'm losing weight and this is great. And like, it all comes down to how you look at the end of the day rather than how you feel.
Mm-hmm. And I can speak from my example or my experience. Like I have a good diet and like I'm aware of a lot of these things, but it's like a pendulum. And if like your goals and your intentions and, you know, like the reason why you're doing this in the first place isn't in alignment with like who you are and how you're doing it, then you're going to really experience like that pendulum swing. So going into say a restrictive or like a, let me just supplement rather than like eating whole foods in a non-sustainable way and go to one side of this pendulum on that restriction side, when you finish, you have to counteract that sort of pendulum and you swing all the way back to the other side. So I mean, for this parasite cleanse, I wasn't having like refined sugar, and I like to have dark chocolate every once in a while. And you know what I did 2 nights ago, I think, because of all that suppression, because I didn't have chocolate for like 3 weeks, I ate a whole pint of ice cream, and I couldn't tell you the last time I've done that. Like I don't buy ice cream, but like I had like this intense craving, and then I sat there and I ate the whole thing.
That sounds
like,
amazing.
It was so good. And it was a non-dairy like gelato, but it was like all chocolate and brownies, and I think there were some sprinkles in there too. And I'm like in heaven, but I have not eaten that much ice cream in years.
And how did your body feel afterwards?
Honestly, it didn't feel terrible.
And that's good.
Maybe it's more like the mental
well,
space
also,
of it.
but also, you know, your body is cleaner, so it's gonna purify those things faster. It's gonna move through your body faster. You're not gonna feel it quite as much. Was that? I see on here like a Jack in the Box analogy.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking
when
about?
you like suppress and suppress and suppress, it's like a Jack in the Box, right? When you're like winding it up, eventually it's going to pop open. And sometimes it's scary when that happens, right?
Yeah.
And like you're doing behaviors that might be worse than what you're even doing before.
Yeah.
I mean, like my analogy isn't like that terrible necessarily, but I mean, take someone who might not have those sort of like innate eating strategies and then put them back to where they were before.
For sure.
Yeah.
And again, you might be losing weight, but you are increasing your body's toxic load. So these like dietary, these supplementations that people are getting, the meal replacements, like they have a lot of toxins in them. And what people don't realize are that toxins are huge. One of the main contributors to obesity. So you add in these toxins with the food to the products that we use. So I want to get into this next subject here, and that's our cosmetic industry.
Wait, can I add something
too? Yes.
In order to lose weight, you have to have your parasympathetic system, your rest and digest online.
Yes.
And when you're in that sort of stress state of I have to lose weight and you're putting in toxins from the chiropractic lens, there are 3 things that contribute to inefficiencies in your nervous system regulation. And that's the thoughts, that's the traumas, and the toxins, so the things that you're putting into your body. And that's going to create havoc in your body, turn on that sympathetic, the fight or flight system, and turn down most likely the parasympathetic. So you got to have balance between the two if you want to lose weight at a sustainable level. So no toxins.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to add that as a chiropractor.
It's like, toxins are bad. So when we say no toxins, it's like toxin light. Like if you're going to have a lot of toxins in your life, you also need to be engaging in like high detox activities. And I don't mean like taking a detox. I mean exercising, drinking lots of water, and also eating whole foods to help nutritionally balance and meet the needs of your like internal organ systems.
Because at the end of the day, like how adaptable is your body?
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to like steer clear from everything bad that we deem as bad in the world.
For sure.
But can your body actually flex and adapt to those sort of like stressors?
Absolutely. And we are adaptable beings, and our adaptability does decrease with toxic load. So going into I'm going to share another fact here. So our cosmetic industry is projected to reach a market value of $805.6 billion by 2023. And women are the primary customers and consumers, spending an average of over $15,000 on makeup in their lifetimes. And I actually would say that's low.
I would say that's low too.
I would say I get why it's an average, because I know women who've probably spent that now, and they're in their 30s.
I'm going to do some quick math on my phone.
Yeah. Well, Aryn does some math on her phone. I'm going to talk a little bit about why this is important to consider, because most of our makeup has toxins in it. The biggest ones are hormone disruptors, and that is linked to worsening PMS symptoms, abnormal aging with your skin and your hair, abnormal menopause, and increased stress, anxiety, and depression. And the huge things that are in our makeup are carcinogens, endocrine disruptors, and nervous system disruptors that cause anger and irritability, which is just, you're just like, I just want to look nice. I just want to look cute. And you put this makeup on and you do look so cute. But what you don't realize is that you're rubbing into your skin is toxins. And I believe that, I know this is to be true with your scalp, which you should check your shampoos, is that when it touches your scalp, within 20 seconds of contact with your scalp, it's in your bloodstream.
I did not know that.
Yep.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. It is terrifying. Did you find your fact?
Well, I was just doing math. I personally don't spend that much on makeup, but I just average like maybe $100 a month on like cosmetic beauty things.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's pretty reasonable for a lot of women if you consider all beauty products that you're using, and multiply that by, you know, say 40 year. I mean, how long do we live wearing makeup?
So you multiply
probably
by 12,
60.
so it's like $1,200 a year
$1,200
or more.
And then multiply that by all of your makeup wearing years, which, I mean, unfortunately in society, it's what, like when you're 15 years old until you're
and then it's crazy to think about it, because like most of these makeups that have toxins in them have so many more ingredients than the clean makeup does, but the clean makeup costs so much more money.
Yeah. I will every once in a while wear foundation and mascara is like the main thing that I wear, and that's it. If I'm feeling wild, then maybe some eyeshadow.
Yeah. Whoa. And
Crazy.
and I, you know, upon learning that most shampoos, there are shampoos that you can get that are very clean. Upon learning that they really don't do a lot for like the balance of our scalp health, I have stopped using shampoo. So I'm on week 6 with no shampoo. It was a rough start. And it still is like, I'm like, is this normal? But this is like what your hair is supposed to actually be and feel like.
So for how long was it like pretty rough? Like a week or 2?
Like 4 weeks. Yeah, it's still kind of rough. Like it's getting better. I got this like brush to like help break up oils on my scalp. And it's helping. Like my scalp is healthier. My face is healthier, I think, because I'm not using anything on my face except for like a jojoba oil every once in a while. But when I was younger, I was blessed to have nice skin. I never really had that acne breakout, but I would every once in a while try like my sister's Proactive or some other like face wash that was at the house, or even sometimes I would see things in a magazine. I'm like, I should try that. It makes my face brighter. And I would always have reactions to it. But I kept going back because I was like, other people are doing this. Isn't that so funny that like, even though my skin was already what I wanted it to be, I was like, I need more. I need it to be better. And
and especially at like that age when like your peers are doing certain things,
sure.
You're like, wait, am I supposed to spend 30 minutes on my face too?
Right. Yeah. And I did or more. Yeah. But yeah, so like just, you know, that belief that I needed to outsource my like wellness from a young age, like my skin wellness, and like buy into these things because it will make you look better. Like, I think I look fine.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. You know, like my hair is coming too. And then with the cleanse, the parasite cleanse, I was like, you know, if I'm doing this, if I'm committing to this level of health with my eating, then I'm going to commit to this level of health with other things. So I already was being pretty clean with my scalp, and I decided to stop wearing mascara because everywhere I looked, a lot of the mascara had something in it that I didn't like. And then just using a really light, like a tinted moisturizer is what I've been using on my face. And I will say that I feel my digestion is so much better.
Awesome.
My armpits like only kind of stink, like, you know, like, and that's like if you have stinky armpits, it's one of the biggest, clearest signs of toxins in your body.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really great way of ridding toxins.
Yep.
I think I shared this on Facebook Live. Maybe one of my friends, she was doing a parasite cleanse because she had a rash on her armpit. And since doing the cleanse, the rash has left.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just had to throw that in since it's kind of on topic.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting because a lot of people will be like, oh, I need to put a cream on it or like something like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this vicious cycle because we get the makeup, we get the creams, we get all of these things that we are told are going to make us look younger and prettier, and like that's okay to want. It is absolutely okay to want, but it's also okay to want to age gracefully, like age with your age. And I think the the interesting thing here is the more toxins we put in our body, the more our metabolism is affected by these toxins. And so like the more we'll outsource our diet, right? Because like we don't realize that what we're putting on our body is also affecting our ability to break down our foods and absorb healthy foods. And with our slower metabolism, the slower our vital organs are. And so they have a harder time eliminating waste and maintaining homeostasis in our body, which means other organs will take on the effects of toxicity. And again, it can lead to obesity, type 2 diabetes, and insulin resistance, cancers. We're going to get into this in a second here more, but autoimmune issues. That we are more prone to injury, we have slower recovery, and then we have chronic diseases. And again, the problem isn't just the toxicity in the makeup, it's the side effects associated with specific types of ingredients and toxins, and that's the problem.
And another thing I want to add too is like PMS symptoms.
Yeah.
And like endometriosis and just awful periods. Like that's something that I dealt with for a long time. And you know what the solution sometimes is? To go on to hormonal birth control. Yeah. And you know what that doesn't serve? Your hormonal balance. No. Because it's like that vicious cycle that you're talking about.
It is. Yeah. Because, and so hormonal birth control, not to bash birth control at all, but it's basically, it's creating synthetic hormone production within your body, progesterone instead of progesterone. And what is the estrogen supplement? Do you remember? Which at the end of the day, they're synthetic. They can't do exactly the same thing that your progesterone would do and what your estrogen would do. And so, one, it inhibits natural production of those hormones. And two, it makes it harder for us to get back on track once we come off of it.
Absolutely.
And they also don't regulate the same way. And so that's why people on hormonal birth controls often find they have more anxiety and stress.
Yeah, I was depressed on my birth control, to be honest.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah, I remember reading about it. If you haven't looked into it, we don't want to get too far off topic here, but
that's a big one affecting a lot of women that like it's a hot topic, and sometimes it's one that people don't want to really touch base on that often.
Yeah. So. I don't care. I'll touch base on it. But
here's Project Lioness.
Yeah. And here's the truth of it is that birth control has a lot of benefits, giving us control over our ability to like not get pregnant and to kind of, and there are situations in which it helps. They actually have found that being on some level of hormonal birth control for a short period of time actually decreases your risk of, I think it's ovarian cancer, or some cancer in your like pelvic region. And that's information I got from Dr. Sarah Gottfried, who is big on hormonal health, but prolonged use of these is really damaging, and they're marketed towards women without explanation of the side effects. Just like your makeup, just like your food, it's the same with medications, especially birth control.
And especially if like they're estrogen based as well. If you start developing any sort of cancer, that's just going to fuel the cancer. Like I speak from the perspective that my mom went through breast cancer, and she immediately obviously had to go off of birth control. And then it was also that conversation of, yes, like estrogen is just going to fuel this even more. And that was a big driver for me to get off of it. Because I'm like, well, listen, we have the same lifestyle factors. Yes, only a small percentage of cancers is genetic, but majority of them are lifestyle. And if you grew up in the same household, then your risks are probably very similar. Yeah. And I'm not going to increase my risk by adding fuel to a maybe starting fire.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that all of this is just so interesting because it's like our food and our makeup are all full of toxins, and we're like, I need makeup because I don't like the way I look because maybe I'm overweight or something like that. So you put on makeup and then it like affects your weight, and then you're like, I need to go on a diet to lose weight, and then it affects the way you look because you're not meeting your nutritional needs. So you are going to have more inflammation in your body. You are going to have more like external responses, especially in your skin.
Yeah.
And then it leads you back to more makeup, which is like increasing that toxic load. And then, we add in, I don't know how to like get too far off topic, but like fashion. The fashion industry, which I feel like a gateway drug to the fashion industry is like diet and cosmetics. Maybe that's going too far, but I think so.
I mean, it's all related too, because then it's like, well, I want to fit in this outfit this sort of way, like the crop tops. And listen, if low-rise jeans come back, I will boycott it.
Not happening.
Because I like the security of high rise. All right. It tucks everything nicely inside.
My mama pouch fits really nicely in these mom jeans.
And you know what? Us women are supposed to have that mama pouch.
Yes.
Like that. We have to have that.
Right. And so this is, I think I wrote this down, but we are supposed to have more fat than men. Yes. There are 5 to 7 different types of fat, I think, in our body. And some of them are really good. We need them to, one, have children and have the estrogen levels that we have in our body, and to help absorb vitamins like vitamin A and vitamin E, I believe it is, are highly absorbed through our fat. And I think vitamin K too, but don't quote me on that. Yeah. We need to have higher fat levels than men. Yeah. And with that, it can make shopping difficult because, I think that they've done a really interesting job of creating more body positivity among shoppers. Like we have food, we have models in all sizes, we have clothes in more variable sizes, and that feels good. However, a lot of that fashion comes from the fast fashion industry, which it is responsible for 10% of our global carbon emissions. It's the second largest consumer of the world's water supply, and women make up 80% of the global garment industry workforce, and they often are paid low wages and live and work in poor conditions.
Like Shein?
Shein, yes.
That's the biggest one. And I don't think people recognize it either.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can get a cute outfit for like $5, and the working conditions of those who are making these outfits are not okay.
No.
Not okay at all.
Yeah. And I think then we go into, not only are all of these things being marketed towards us, the food, the makeup, and the clothes, we are being charged a higher amount of money for it.
I'm wearing my pink leggings today for the pink tax.
Yes, the pink tax. Tell us about the pink tax, Dr. Aryn.
So pink tax, it's not like an actual tax, but it's the fact that women generally pay more money for women-based products than men do. So they could literally be pink, but think of like razors and deodorants. Like I have a statistic here. I think it's 13% more expensive, like the personal care products for women or that are targeted towards women than men. 13% more expensive. And then when it comes to like clothing, we usually spend like 7 or 8% more money compared to men. And then the other one was deodorant, because I used to buy men's deodorant. I would buy Old Spice because it worked better.
It smells so good.
And it smells so good, and
it's really
cheaper.
Bad for you.
It's so bad for you. I use natural deodorant now, and that transition, like getting
I have like patchouli oil deodorant.
But we spend 8.9% more money on deodorants on average compared to men's deodorant.
I also was looking at like they will literally create toothpaste ads like for women, and it's like more money when they advertisement that way, which is, it's just really interesting to think about.
I used to get really mad whenever I would see anything that was pink, because I'm like, you're literally just trying to attract more women. Yeah. And I bet you anything, it's way more expensive. So it was kind of cool that like I innately knew about that before like actually seeing all these statistics when like the pink tax stuff was really coming out.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that like they really do appeal to like our aesthetic natures, right? We have so many more options with things than men, at least at Target. When I go to Target, like the female aisles, like of clothing and whatnot, it just seems like there's more options for like makeup and, well, obviously for makeup, but like hair care products and all of that. The marketing is meeting the aesthetic desires of multiple people. Whereas men, it's just like they go in and they buy what they buy and they leave.
Yeah.
But what we're being marketed towards, especially if it's like highly aesthetically pleasing, even though it might not serve a better purpose or like work better than other things, it costs more money.
100%. JP Morgan actually estimated that women spend $1,300 more because of the so-called pink tax a year.
Yikes. Add that on to the fast fashion and the makeup that we're already buying.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
So basically we're being robbed.
I'm angry.
I'm mad.
And then we look at all these things that we have that are being marketed towards us. Our food, again, food loaded with toxins that does not reinforce healthy eating habits or behaviors or even understanding our intuitive need for food, and how that's compounded. The toxins in those are compounded with the toxins in makeup that we're spreading on our faces, and then the clothes that we buy. And we are the primary consumers of all of these, and still yet we are the least satisfied population with the way that we look and the way that we feel. And that leads us to
men don't care what they look like. And they don't wear makeup or do anything. Maybe they do like hair gel every once in a while, but they're like the most carefree people. And I love that.
Yeah. And I think
they can rock the dad bod with like, no.
Yes. And I think that's just like so interesting how the dad bod was like glorified as this thing that was coming back, and like having like fat in that part of your body is the most unhealthy place to carry fat.
Yep.
What is it called? Visceral fat? Mm-hmm. It's really unhealthy. It's not good. We should not be like idolizing that. But, you know, despite, you know, the makeup and the clothing and the diets and the exercise, we didn't even touch on the exercise industry. No, it's 65% of the fitness industry's consumer base is women.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is like, you know, we're more likely to ask for help, and we'll get into this, the benefits of what I think all of these seekings are. But one concerning thing is that with all of these things that we're externalizing our health for, we are still more likely than men to consider cosmetic procedures. Mm-hmm. So even though we're externalizing in all of these different ways, we're still going further into a need to like physically change ourselves. And this is not bashing the desire to cosmetically alter yourself. Everybody needs to do what feels best to them at the end of the day. But the fact that women are gravitating towards this due to insecurity is what we're speaking to. And
what's the percentage of women who, or the percentage for getting procedures?
Yeah. So a survey found that women are more likely to consider cosmetic procedures, with 72% of the women they talked to having considered a cosmetic treatment. They also found that women are more likely to prioritize appearance over other aspects of their life, with 38% of women saying they would give up social media for a year in exchange for their ideal appearance, compared to 28% of men.
I wonder if you gave up social media for a year, if that desire would actually go down.
Right?
If you did a study.
Yeah, because you're not like looking and comparing yourself. Yeah. I actually deleted my Instagram. I deleted the app from my phone and signed out of my Instagram accounts. Because like I said, with this parasite cleanse, I feel like I'm like not only losing parasites from my body, but losing and gaining a lot of insights and realizing that there's been things that are distracting me. And it's crazy. Once you start to bring something back into alignment, you can start to sense those other things are out of alignment. So like my eating was out of alignment, even though I ate well, it was honestly out of alignment. And then I was using products on my face that were adding to my toxic load, which toxic load affects your mental clarity. And so as I've kind of gotten cleaner and gone through this detox process, I'm also finding a need to engage on social media less. And I guess not even engage on social media less. I want to have a physical barrier between me and social media that was causing me to like compare and feeling like I needed to like outsource in any kind of way.
At one point, I did like a deep dive on who I actually follow.
Yeah.
Because there are some folks, that you follow on social media that might trigger those sort of thoughts. I'm like, well, we're going to unfollow them.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, if that is something that you notice in like your daily life, then I invite you to maybe look into who you follow on social media or just like the content that you see. Is it pushing that narrative that really isn't beneficial for self-esteem and self-worth? Because there's a lot out there that we're just so used to seeing, and it's almost like subconscious at this point that you might not recognize it's making the impact that it actually is.
For sure. And the interesting thing is like comparison is natural because we have to be judgmental to survive. Like we have to carry some sense of like judgment to keep ourselves alive. And so to compare ourselves, it's like instinctual, and it comes from like a desire for like safety. And at the same time, we need to like also recognize that safety is going to be like cultivated from within and not from anywhere else in our environment. Going back to that stat on cosmetic surgeries, 92% of cosmetic procedures and surgeries are performed on women.
Yeah, that was the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah. It's a lot.
92%.
92%. And so, it's just all of these things exist, all of these diets and recommendations and makeup and fashion and cosmetic opportunities. All of these things exist, but they are really a distraction.
And it's not like to shame if you love cosmetics and all that. It's not to like shame you and be like, don't do that, it's bad for you. But I do encourage maybe look for healthier, less toxic sort of products to use. And just like build awareness about what you're actually like putting on your face and whatnot. But I mean, makeup can be so empowering. Like when I throw on some red lipstick, like, I'm feeling myself.
And like, I go to a wedding, I'm going to a wedding in like a couple weeks here, and like, sure shit, I'm going to put on some mascara. It just feels good. Like it feels good to have that, but it's, do I need it every day? Is the toxic load of it worth it every day? For me, no, because my highest value at the end of the day is health. And that's, we've said this a lot. Like, what are your highest values?
Yes. You can use the DeMartini value determination.
Yes, you can.
Seek that out if you'd like.
Yes, you can. Shout out Dr. Mel. Woo woo. Yes. So, and again, like Dr. Aryn said, like, this is not to shame you on your lifestyle choices. This is just to give you insight into how these things are marketed and directed towards you. And at the end of the day are asking you and almost demanding you in some ways to outsource your health.
Yeah. And honestly, throw away all those Bath and Body Works lotions.
Yes.
Please.
And like candles and stuff like it. Just, it's as we talk about health and aligning, it's like you can be really purposeful with your thoughts and your actions, but if you aren't paying attention to the things that you consume, and that's not just your like food, it's what you're putting on your skin, it's what you're wearing on your body, it's toxins that you're around, and what you watch on TV and the advertisements you expose yourself to. We just have to be aware.
100%.
I feel like I was going into a deeper point with that, but I got really caught up in all of the things that we consume that can distract us from like true health.
And then I felt distracted.
And then I was distracted. Yes. And so, at the end of the day, Aryn and I did this parasite cleanse because we were seeking out a higher purpose. We did it with really great intention. And I think if you're going to explore like trying something new, consider what is the intention behind it. What do I want to get out of this? Am I, restricting myself? Something that Dr. Aryn noted is that add more good stuff into your life rather than less of the bad stuff. Make simple, higher quality replacements with everyday food you can get for sustainable change.
Yeah. Like one thing that I talk to my practice members about is if your diet isn't the most optimal, that's okay. What if you added more fruits and vegetables?
Yeah.
And instead of saying, well, you need to stop eating all these processed foods and refined sugars, like just add more of what's good. And you'll probably notice that you will naturally stop eating the bad.
Because you're not craving.
And it's easier to add than to remove sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might not be craving the things that you were eating because one, you're actually full, and two, you're actually meeting your nutritional needs. And a lot of the times, we start to eat out of comfort, but when our body is actually full, we don't seek out comfort in that way. And so, just coming back to what this episode is and what it all boils down to, what would you say that is, Dr.
Aryn? Love thyself.
Loving your body.
Yeah. Like having that good innate relationship with like, what does loving my body look like and feel like, and how can I do that?
Yeah. And like maybe even start to recognize some places in your life that are disrupting your ability to love your body, and disengage with that a little bit. Yeah. What are some other ones? At the bottom. Well, we kind of already talked about this, but knowing what your goals and intentions are with your health. And like, if you're going to engage in some type of diet experiment, some type of like change, what are the intentions behind what you're doing? Are they for your higher good? Is it just because you want to look good, or is it because you want to feel good? I hope Ashley doesn't mind me sharing this, but something that she said to me the other day was like, I just realized like I have to stop seeking certain like aspects of health because I think it's what other people would like or enjoy, and I have to do it because like of what I want.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot because you can't make sustainable change if it's not from within.
Yeah. And to make a sustainable change, speaking to this last point here, is that you have to have a plan. With your intentions and with your goals, like you have to have a plan, some level of accountability. I know the Project Lioness cohort is going to touch on some of this and hold you to a plan and accountability when it comes to aligning with higher health. Michael, my partner, he does health coaching and he's really good at it. He could help you create a plan that's Inspire Health Coaching. And then I do this with my clients. It's part of one of the OT packages that I have. But creating a good plan boils down to, knowing where you are at and where you want to be, and finding the steps that will get you there in a way that feels aligned and good to you, and not drastic or restrictive.
What was what you said in like the last episode that you did about like the decision, it's like taxing to make decisions.
Decision fatigue.
Yeah. Decision fatigue.
Yeah.
Because if you have a plan, then there's less decisions you have to make, especially when it comes to say like a food plan, like what you're eating on a daily basis, which we created for the like parasite cleanse.
Oh yeah.
And that helps to not have to like start from the very beginning, like, oh, well, what can I eat now?
Yeah, good plug. I forgot about that. Dr. Aryn and I created a parasite protocol, and it kind of tells you why you might consider doing one, what to expect, and then what you should do during the protocol. And it even includes like a 10-day meal plan and the grocery list that you can shop off of for that. So if you're interested in doing a parasite cleanse or even just eating anti-inflammatory, this is a really good opportunity to like look into what all of that means. So you can hit us up. You can email us at connect@inspirelifecairocenter.com and just say, I would like the parasite protocol, please. Or you can message Dr. Aryn on Instagram. What's your handle?
Dr. Thomas, but Aryn spelled weird. It's Aryn.
Dr. Aryn Thomas, and that's spelled correctly on Instagram. And you can always hit us up on our Instagram at Inspire Life Chiro Center or at Project Lioness. So that's all for today, unless you have anything else you want to add.
No.
Cool.
Just thank y'all.
Yeah. Thank you for sitting with us. I know it could be hard to hear, all these things, know.
And we got your back. Like if you need a support system or if like there's certain things that you want to change, but you don't really know where to start, like let us know and we'll help you out.
We'll guide you.
We'll guide you.
Yes. And this is what we always say is like what you need, you already know inside, but sometimes you have trouble unlocking that and we can help you with that. So we're here with you. This is Jess and Dr. Aryn with Project Lioness, and we are here to guide you in reclaiming your power, inspire you to pursue your authentic purpose, and ultimately invite you to play all out in life. Until next time, see you later.
Bye.
Thank you for joining the Project Lioness podcast. Did you find value in today's episode? Help us impact the lives of others by sharing this podcast with someone you know who would resonate and benefit from the Project Lioness message. Excited to hear more? We invite you to subscribe on whatever platform you're tuning in on. And we'd be so grateful for you to leave us a review about what you enjoy most, as well as what you'd like to hear more of. Thank you so much for all of your support. Sincerely yours in power, purpose, and play. Dr. Mel with the Project Lioness podcast. Keep rising, keep roaring, and keep inspiring.